Hello and welcome back in the emerging food forest. Today I will take you through a September tour of the food forest with a few changes. You probably see in the background we put the net back up over the chickens, and we also made the area a bit smaller, and I'll explain why in a bit. So here you can see the whole area, chicken area. Previously it was going until back there in the corner where we had the compost. Now we moved the compost here. This has a very simple reason. We only had this one net which we had to put over the whole area due to two ladies having become a meal from a hawk, and we had to make sure that the whole area is closed, because first we put the net up. The sides were obviously closed, but here there was a gap. Here, you could enter from this side, and it was actually enough. The hawk entered from down here and ate a chicken just there, or killed it. He didn't really eat it, but yeah. So that's what happened, and that's why we made the area shorter for now. I was also quite sick over the last few weeks, so I didn't really have energy to do anything, more or less. But as you can see, it's been raining. We had rain for the last week or so, so everything is nice and wet. But we are also coming towards the end of the season. But like this, while there's still some temperature, at least nature gets a little bit of putting stuff, water to put the energy into hibernating over the winter. So with this, our compost operation is also on again, which was on a complete standstill for the last 2-3 months. Now finally also it's a bit harder for the chickens to throw everything down from uphill, but we'll get a load of straw this week so that we can, chickens been busy digging so that we can cover everything in straw, and so that over the winter we built up a nice layer of straw. Here you see the compost. What we many times do now as well, because the ladies were quite scared for quite a few weeks after the hawk attacked, and they were not really eating much, so we now pile everything up, and then we spread the food scraps around, and then they pile everything down again and partially cover already the food scraps to absorb a bit more the nutrients and protect it from flies and stuff. For the rest, I will definitely have to redo this little stream area, because it's simply losing too much water. I'll see, I actually took a cut off from the pond liner and put that in, but as it was a cut off, it was not really big enough, so I even put some concrete on top, but that also doesn't seem to be working, because it's simply insane how much we need to fill up the pond. So in winter what I will probably do, take out the concrete, take out the first liner, and buy a liner which is definitely big enough, and like this ensure that we will lose less water next season. Yeah, here you see our jungle. It suffered a bit as well from the rains and winds, especially the amaranth. They all kind of bended down. Corns are done. There's still beans coming, but you see there's one long amaranth stalk. But we leave everything as long as possible in the soil, so that they can really pump as much as possible of the nutrients back into the soil. And then later we'll just come and cut everything above ground level so that the roots can decompose, and then we might actually replant these kales and broccolis into the greenhouse once the chickens have been in the greenhouse after the tomatoes, and then the chickens will rotate through the different gardens to take out anything basically, mostly slugs and snails, which are again emerging now as it's cooled down a bit and the humidity is back. I just wanted a short side note here. These are two shoots which definitely rooted, which have been quite neglected, to be honest, but when we got, you see here is another one which is think at least that it's quite dead. This one is definitely dead, but when we got our bushes in spring, we some of the branches were broken, so I just cut them into cutting size, stick them in this pot. This one was also fine for some time, but yeah, as I said, it was quite neglected and hot and dry, so yeah, there's nothing going on. But yeah, it seems work. These are 2 buffalo berries, so we have 2 more plants to replace the few which died. The pond, it's coming along really nicely. The pond itself is really great, but we don't really get the stability into the water because so much is evaporating, and then I need to refill it, and somehow the water is constantly exchanged and it doesn't get any stability in it. So for the naval life, I think it would be much more beneficial if the water would be more stable. Of course, I'll have to refill a bit from time to time, but not in these quantities as we have to at the moment. Yeah, I was building the pond. This is an oregano plant, and I really wanted it to stay, and I'm very happy to see that it is very happy as well. And then just you see, like, this is just proof that the sheet mulching method works just awesomely beautifully, because we had huge corns, but that was also kind of where the composting area was last year. But you also see these sunflowers, they're absolutely huge. And this was if I would have done this double dig, I don't know, I would have not broken my back, but it's been so much work because there's so much ivy and brambles and all kinds of stuff in that soil, and roots from the hedge. I'm not even sure it would have been possible, but like this, we just covered it from autumn with cardboard, and then in spring we put some very shitty compost on it, and you could really see, because especially the chilies, they took a very long time to start growing, and now this is actually paprika, I think, but now this is a chili. I harvested some chilies. No, this is a paprika. But you see there's a chili plant. They're very small. I mean, parts also because this was simply too jungly for some plants. Next year we'll definitely leave the chilies. And we'll probably try with a few to see if they get a better start, if it will work. But it was too jungly for them, especially because they got this late start, and then I just wanted to show you this cosmos. I mean, I have seen a cosmos this big. Cosmos is as big as the sunflowers. There's a little slope there, so absolutely huge and so beautiful. And the nasturtium is also very happy. There's even a bumblebee. I don't know if you can see her. But yeah, nasturtium is very happy as well. So yeah, we definitely learned a few lessons. Like, it's definitely worth, I think, trenching or like mounting the potatoes, sorry, because we got very few potatoes from what we had, because we simply made a small hole and put the potatoes in. That was it. But also we'll now definitely start producing more compost, and we'll use that all over the place, also in the food forest, which is still very sad, like this one here. And you can see here there's also a bigger sunflower, but this peach has not been very happy this year. And this is more the area for like chilies and these kind of things, I think. This is also a different variety of nasturtium, which I think actually volunteered here, and those we planted. I'm not 100% sure though. But yeah, to have it a bit more space with a lower ground cover than nasturtiums, like clover, for example. Here you can see our winter bed with winter salads, some winter peas. But yeah, here is our food forest area. See the trees. I mean, I watered them time to time, but really quite sad. I mean, I know that the soil is not great and many things died, like I showed the previous time, but not even the sandthorn, the sea buckthorn, is actually really happy. So we'll improve this over winter with compost teas, compost extracts. I'm actually starting now my next step in the certification from the Soil Food Rep School. Is just that I cannot concentrate at the moment, so I cannot study. But yeah, I haven't been here actually for quite some time. The trees which we planted, which actually have one more year there and there, are also not really happy. There's also one walnut which we planted up there. Actually not sure. I think it's still alive, but I'm not sure. It's there, but it's there. But I don't have my glasses, so I cannot really see. Now we are on the eastern side of the house. We were just above there, this little forest with these fruit trees. But here you can really see the extent of the drought. I mean, rhododendron, quite drought tolerant kaput. Here, I need to look up the name again, but they also suffered hugely from the dryness. The beech is already dropping, or not dropping its leaf, but taking out chlorophyll from its leaves. And just generally, this is so much thinner than it was. And here, the view down, I actually think I'll go up here. We see the pond is also quite green. Simply not enough water came. And here are poor apricot trees, especially the first one. The second one there, interestingly, is much more protected and somehow gets more humidity there as well. There's the magnolia just behind. And this one here is really very sad. I will see, either I need to replant it or to at least, I don't know, I have to see. Definitely put a lot of compost around it, put some mulch around, made this little terrace, but it doesn't seem to be enough. And then down there, I haven't been in that food forest for some time as well. Yeah, we planted a few more things here and put the stones in, because each rain will just wash everything down like this. It's a bit more protected. And with this whole area, the idea was to at one point make like a Mediterranean stone garden out of it, with Mediterranean herbs and alpine flowers, because the soil is most definitely to dig out from the house. And then down here we have our happiest member in this food forest, with this definitely this goji berry, from which we might most definitely take some cuttings. It's flowering as well. And the rest is slowly. Ah shit. This one is also not too happy. Hopefully he will survive the winter. Oh, the asters are starting to flower. It's really the flower which you see growing all year. You expect it will never flower, and then it flowers. It's really beautiful. Very important late flowering for all kinds of insects. Tomatoes. And then here, some members are quite happy. It looks like some of the comfrey which I planted here survived as well. We'll have to see now with the slugs waking up. There's another goji. Here are a few things. These guys have really not been happy. The hascaps. I don't know if it's the wood chips which we put down or something. Now they're coming back here and there. Those who have been very unhappy actually make new leaves, and generally theirs looks much happier than this guy. Let me zoom in. Looks a bit sad. I don't know how sharp this is, to be honest. But yeah. And then here through also are the trees which we planted. Here the comfy you see is very happy, but the Cornus Mas Cornelian cherry really isn't. Yeah, these the sumacs we actually let grow over the summer, where they don't hinder us, and then we'll chop and drop them over the winter. Sumac is really a very beautiful species to do that, but you have to keep it in check because it's simply, you see there's a buffalo berry hiding in here. I definitely should cut this. I mean, actually I'm not sure, it looks quite happy, the buffalo berry, so I think I'll just leave it until later. But you see each branch, I mean these branches were more to mark some herbaceous friend which was growing there. This was not actually something growing, but as you can see there's nothing left there of it. But yeah, it's been a very difficult season for perennial plants. The Buddleia is very happy there. That's definitely a good sign. And these guys also seem to be kicking off. This is some, I think it's some winter flowering Lonicera, honeysuckle, and evergreen. Yeah, there you go. And only one of the Leagnus ebingii made it. All the rest died as well. Ah, this is interesting. We got a very happy nettle. That's nice. Can use it. Actually, once they start putting on seed, you shouldn't eat them anymore because they make some toxins. The seeds you can eat, you can dry and eat. They're very healthy, but you shouldn't eat the leaves anymore. Here, this Cornus Mas seems a bit happier. This plum is also not the happiest. There are some herbaceous plants which are very happy. Actually, here in this line, even the strawberries, you see, they really just struggled. I think it's definitely has to do with the dryness. It was simply too dry for anything to get started, really. But I think it's also down to the wood chips, which has a lot of tuya in it, and this is really not recommended, to say the least. It would definitely have been better to let it sit for a year before planting really anything into it. But yeah, I wanted to look. Oh yeah, here I'm wondering. Yeah, there's this. This is Judas tree, the Cercis siliquastrum. There you go. And it died quite early on, but I'm wondering if this little something's coming out of there, if that might be new shoot of the Judas tree. I need to look up how they look, the leaves look of the Judas tree. I honestly don't remember how they look. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or advice, please let me know, and I'm always very happy for any constructive exchange. About our plans, honestly, I don't know yet what we will start doing over the winter, because my health state has really been so bad that I don't really expect anything. I'll have to see what will happen. You see here now there we bought 12 shells. Oh, cleaning the water because it is really very green, and I gotta check on them once. Yeah, you saw the fish? We have like 20 small black fish in here, which we saw. I don't know if one of the fishes which we got was pregnant and released them. Most likely not the koi's, because this water basically never gets hot enough to how it's supposed to be for them. Or maybe some goldfish, little goldfish, or maybe some duck or heron brought some fishes. Yeah, there's one. And there's the little goldfish who might have been the mother or father of all the little black ones. Yeah, they disappeared again. So yeah, very happy to share with you guys and my future self how all of this looks at the moment. Enjoy. Just one side note of what I wanted to mention is that one problem with the dryness is that it's dry. All of these wood chips, they didn't compose at all. I mean, this is still it's reasonably wet, or humid is actually better. Partially, it's really not everything is wet, it's still quite dry. So we definitely need more rain soon for this to get quite wet, so that our little microscopic friends can take up their work in decomposing this, in building their networks, in decomposing the toxins in the tuya, which are inhibiting anything else from growing. But I'm optimistic that also when we start making compost teas, which we will spread all over the place, that also part of my certification with the Soil Food Web School, that we will have a much more abundant perennial year next year. I mean, you see here, this is the place where we put down from the beginning most of the wood chips from our own production, so to speak, and it's really so lush and abundant.